guys, day 17, 100 Days of Thankfulness. Today we're going to be talking about my first miracle that happened in 1993, and we're also going to be talking about the importance of reading. A couple days ago I was sharing with you that I had prayed my first prayer to God, asking God, if you're real, please reveal yourself to me. And what happened after that is I received like 12 different miracles as a response. And when I say there's 12 miracles, about half of them are of the more supernatural nature, and another half are more like coincidences, but based on the timing and as well as the progression of how weird they became. I mean, with each coincidence that was happening, it was becoming weirder and weirder. I felt like I was trapped in a Twilight Zone episode. So what started with Miracle 1, and before I get into that, yesterday I was talking about miracles and basically the concept of beliefs. So I shared a couple crayfish examples, and sometimes we believe things based on personal experiences that we've had, and sometimes, both the examples I gave yesterday, nothing was of a supernatural nature yesterday, but both of those examples were about my experiences, and one of them was specifically about where I came to the wrong conclusion, that what I was seeing was a baby lobster. And that's what happens. I mean, sometimes we experience something and, it's real easy to just come to the wrong conclusion. And that can form your belief system and impact your whole life based upon that wrong conclusion. But I think for most people, when you don't have an experience, it's sort of up in the air. So you listen to people, you learn from other people, and in the end, because it's, there's no personal experience there, you pretty much, or what most people do, I think, is that you just choose what you want to believe. And that's certainly what I was doing with when I was plucking, different aspects of different religions and basically creating my own God to worship. A lot of what I was believing God to be like was based upon the one supernatural experience I did have up to that point. And I shared that several days ago, I think on day 11, or actually, yeah, even longer ago. I don't even remember what day it was. But I was sharing about how I was going through this depression, and my mom shared with me a psychic reading that knew the exact details that I had not shared with anyone about exactly how I was planning on killing myself. And so that was kind of my first eye-opener to, there is a supernatural world. There is stuff out there. And so just experiencing that colored a lot of my belief system up to that point. And so I, really learned a lot about New Age. I learned about the concept of reincarnation. I really like the idea of reincarnation because, you get multiple attempts to get it right. And combined with that is the concept of karma, which makes perfect sense to me. If you do good things happen to you. If you do bad things happen to you. So a lot of my belief system at the time that I said the prayer was wrapped around those concepts, almost more like an Eastern religion is what I was following, or at least favoring. And so at the point when I asked God, God, if you're real, please reveal yourself to me, part of what was behind that was I was recognizing the fact that I was choosing to worship a God that I had created rather than worshiping a God that had created me. And once I accepted that, I don't really, I was coming to the conclusion that my mom was actually wrong when she said you get to choose your own reality, and that reality doesn't care very much about what I want. Reality is reality, and either I can accept reality or I can reject it and just do whatever I want. So this was me coming to God and saying, God, if you're real, show me who you really are. And that's what he did with this first miracle. I talked a bit about Rich Silverstein in my introduction to the Amway business. Now they have a concept of Book of the Month program, and these are books that are supposed to help you to just grow as a leader, grow in integrity, and some of them were of a religious nature, and certainly I wasn't expecting this when my friend had given me, actually Rich had given a book to my friend Andrew, and Andrew had given me a book and said, here, read this, it'll be good for your Amway business. And I'm like, okay. It's called On Becoming a Real Man, and I'm like, hey, what are you saying? I'm not a real man. So I read the book, and it was all about choosing Jesus Christ as your role model for manhood. And you know, he talks about how the concept of a real man is that most people have, certainly most Americans, is, you know, kind of that Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, you're full of muscles, you know, you're very stoic, not really emotional. And what he was, what this author, Edwin Louis Cole, was saying is a real man is compassionate. A real man is not afraid to share his emotions. He even shared, you know, the shortest verse in the Bible is Jesus wept, and that was, you know, in context, he was weeping for someone who had died, who he later resurrected. So, you know, he was able to empathize, even though he knew he had the power to just change it in an instant. He knew what people needed, and he was always he was just, you know, for me, after I read the book, I didn't say, oh, Jesus Christ is God, I'm going to start following Christianity. What I said is, wow, I've been looking, you know, because I already accepted this concept of universal absolutism as being, you know, there's a moral absolute out there that I need to follow, and but I didn't know where to find it. And here was an example of someone that exemplified for me what is the, you know, the character that I need to follow, and I want to be more like, and so I wanted to learn more about Jesus after reading this book. Before that, I didn't really, you know, I just heard that he was a good man, and that was about it. But now, you know, I had some more deeper examples of just all the good things that Jesus did. And, you know, he was, you know, he wasn't weak, he was strong, he was a strong leader. But he just had so much compassion and more than anything else, so much love for everyone around him. And so I just wanted to know more about him. So by itself, you know, I know that doesn't sound like, oh, you know, that's your miracle, you got a book. Well, if you look at the timing of when I received that book to when I said the prayer, you can at least see there's a coincidence going on there. And maybe it's a weaker coincidence, but in context of the 11 miracles that follow after this, I think you'll see why I am identifying this as the first miracle that I've experienced today. So I want to just thank Edwin Louis Cole. He's